No. Russos are some of my favorite directors of all time. They have given me some of the greatest moments of my life. I refuse to believe it. I need to read this and see what they said. Although if they did say this, I'm wondering who paid them. Maybe Disney, maybe they're coming back. I know they've said that they're not, but never say never in the entertainment business. Okay, let's check this out. Yeah. Blame the kids. Blame the kids and the ones that ain't kids for not wanting to see garbage product. That's how you want to spin it? Okay. The Russo brothers blame Marvel's struggles on the kids, not the output. Even as Marvel Studios finds success on the small screen right now with X-Men 97, lighting fans up every week on Disney+, it's not undiplomatic to say at this point that its star has faded a touch. A touch! Yeah, I'd say when it comes to big screen tentpole releases, is it the output itself lacking a strong, coherent thread compared to the Infinity Saga? Is it there just being so much of it now between film and TV that it feels like homework just to make sense of one story to the next? Is it the specter of superhero fatigue made real? I'll tell you this, it's not superhero fatigue, because what they're injecting into their movies that people don't like, and the reason why they're not going to see them, they're putting in everything. From video games, to comic books, to books, to TV shows, and other movies. So, it's not superhero fatigue. Is it, so much of it? No, because if they were putting all this out during the heyday, which was the Infinity Saga, they'd be drowning in money, because it all would have been good writing for the most part, and people have been loving it. No, Joe and Anthony Russo say it's those kids with their attention spans. Gotcha, darn it. That's so it's making them sound like old men. So let me see what it says here. Quote, there's been a big generational divide about how you consume media. Well, that's true. From what I understand, I hear it a lot, is that their attention spans are very low now because of things like TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram. It's quick. I mean, start with Vine. I remember with Vine came out. Joe Russo recently told Games Radar about Marvel's decaying grip on the pop culture behemoth it once was with the release of Avengers Endgame. There's a generation that used to appointment viewing and going to a theater on a certain date to see something. But it's aging out. Meanwhile, I don't know. I see kids at the theater all the time when I go. But I get it. Streaming is big. And we found out that streaming, it definitely had its place during the pandemic. But when things, people went back to the movies. People like the theater experience. But I get it because streaming is bigger now. Let's keep going here. Meanwhile, the new generation I want it now. I want to process it now. Speaking of that, some of y'all are really like that, especially with some of y'all watching these fitness channels. You jumping on steroids when you're in your mid-20s to even late 20s or even in your teens. Don't do that. You are self-deleting. Stop it now. Trust me, I know the top guys you follow, and one of the top guys is a young guy. I am afraid for him, and you know who I'm talking about. I am afraid for him. If he don't stop in the next few years, you're going to be going to his funeral. I want to process it now. Then moving on to the next thing, which they process Willis two other things at the same time, you know. It's a very different moment in time than it's ever been. And I think everyone, including Marvel, is experiencing the same thing. This transition. Now! I vehemently disagree. Russos. That ain't it. And I think that is probably what's at play more than anything else. No! Oh, no! It is pure garbage that is being force-fed to us adults and the kiddies. Hello, kiddies. I think that was the Crypt Keeper, wasn't a Joker. For you people that might think it was a Joker. I think that the 2-hour format, the structure that goes into making a movie, it's over a century old now, and everything's always transitions. Russo continues. So there's something happening again, and that form is repetitive. But it's hard to reinvent that form, and I think this generation is looking for ways to tell their own stories that serve their own sort of collective ADHD. Quote, the superhero fatigue question was around long before the work we were doing. I don't remember that. I don't remember anyone talking about that then. Maybe they were, but I don't remember. Anthony Russo added, pushing back on the idea that there is fatigue for superhero fiction. It's not. It's woke fatigue. So it's sort of an eternal, the Eternals, complaint. Like we always used to cite this back in our early days with superhero work. People used to complain about Westerns in the same way. I heard there were a lot of Westerns. You know, I've never been into Westerns. You know, maybe you guys were, but I mean, I don't have a problem with them, but the whole cowboy life never worked for me. I guess John Wayne kind of, and Clint Eastwood or whatever, kind of spearheaded that way, but they lasted for decades and decades and decades. They were continually reinvented and brought to new heights as they went on. The last part, at least, is true. People having been talking about the death of the superhero boom for almost as long as the superhero boom has, well, boomed. But it's absolutely insane to suggest that Marvel's recent box office and critical struggles have anything to do with a young generation of media consumers having their minds addled by TikTok and the like. One of the biggest shows on Disney Plus right now is X-Men 97, a superhero story that is leveraging upon decades and decades of comic books and characters to tell a story about Marvel's mutants that is both honoring decades of animation and even further decades of comic books beyond them. It's not working because it's a weekly half-hour animated show. For as much as Joe Russo wants to blame collective ADHD, it's working because it's a really well-made show. And it is. It does have sprinkled stuff in there, but overall, it's good. So, yeah. Post comments down below. Let me know what you think. If you enjoyed my thoughts on the Russo's thoughts, hit the like button, subscribe, and share.